Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing safe and sound. Welcome to my channel DevOps Tech Stack.
Let's talk about the very first question, that is, in Kubernetes, when you are going to perform the rolling update on a deployment, how you can control the availability and surge your pods using the maximum unavailable and maximum surge parameters. So basically, what are these parameters and how they are going to affect the rolling update process? This is a simple deployment file where we are going to deploy a Java-based Maven application on the Kubernetes cluster. So here we have defined two parameters in the rolling update process, that is the maximum unavailable and maximum surge. So what are these parameters and how they are going to affect your rolling update process? So the first parameter is maximum unavailable. So this parameter specifies the maximum number of pods that can be unavailable during the rolling update process. Like in your case, in this particular deployment file, we are having the replica set as 4. So with maximum unavailable 2 means Kubernetes allows you to two pods to be unavailable in the non-running state or not ready state during the particular update process. So this ensures that at least two pods remain available to handle the traffic when the update is in the progress. Now let's talk about the maximum surge parameter. So this parameter specifies the maximum number of extra pods that can be created during the rolling update process beyond the desired number of replica. So if your desired replica is 4, it can create up to 2 more pods to handle the traffic. So in total, you will have 6 pods that can be created at a particular time. Okay. So with maximum surge as 2, Kubernetes can create up to 2 additional pods during the update process, resulting in a total of 6 pods, means 4 desired that is set as a replica and 2 extra temporarily running during the update, right? So this is basically these two parameters will help you during the rolling update strategy. Okay. So now why you need to use these parameters? So maximum unavailable ensures that a certain number of pods remain available to handle the traffic during the update, preventing the downtime for your end users. Now maximum surge allows Kubernetes to speed up the update process by creating extra pods, ensuring that new pods are ready before old ones are terminated and they can handle the traffic for the end user. So let's talk about the next question, that is, what is the difference between entry point and CMD in the Docker file? So both are used to specify the command that will run when a container starts. But there is a slight difference between using the entry point and the CMD. So what are those differences that we are going to talk now? The very first is, what is the entry point and how you are going to use it? The container is designed to run a specific application or the script. Like in every time the container start, it will make sure that those particular instructions inside the entry point will always be executed and you don't want to override it. Like if you are running a simple jar file or a simple Java application you want to run, and every time this app.jar will be running inside the container and you don't want to override it, in that particular scenario you will go with the entry point in the Docker file. You want to ensure the main command is always executed regardless of the user input. User is not going to override the instruction which are going to be passed inside the entry point. It will always make sure that this particular instruction is always executed. Okay. Now, what is the CMD and how is it different from the entry point instruction? So CMD is used to provide default arguments or commands that will run when the container starts, but it can be overridden by the arguments passed during the Docker run. For example, here I am passing a CMD instruction inside the which the argument is bash. But this can be overridden when you are going to run the docker run command. So here I'm trying to override this particular bash argument with the ls, and this can only be done when you are using the CMD instruction. This can't be done when you are using the entry point. Okay. Let's see this example. Here also I have created one Docker file. In this Docker file, I am building a simple Spring based application, and every time this particular application will run inside the container, I am always going to call this app.jar file and it will be running inside the container. I don't want to override it. But in case I want to override it, then I need to go with the CMD instruction Okay, like this, I am overriding this particular instruction. Here I am passing the bash argument inside the CMD instruction. But when you want to override it during the Docker run command, you can override with any command which you want to run during the runtime. Now let's talk about the third question, that is, what is the default node port range in the Kubernetes cluster and what is the node port service? Okay, so the node port service in the Kubernetes is a type of service that exposes an application running in a cluster to the external world by opening a specific port on each node in the cluster. And the default node port range is 30,000 to 32,767. Okay, so the node port is a type of Kubernetes service that allows external traffic to access a service running inside the cluster. Now, when you are going to create a service of type node port, Kubernetes allocates a port from this particular range, what I discussed now, on each node in the cluster. Now, how you are going to access a node port service? Once a node port service is created, you can access it using the following format, which I have mentioned it over here: http colon double slash, then you have to give the node IP that you can get it from the command kubectl get nodes, okay, hyphen o wide. From that command, you will get the node IP. And after that colon, you need to specify the port on which this particular port service is exposed. It will always be in the range, this one. Okay, fine. Now let's talk about the question 4 in this particular video. You need to write a bash script to clean up the Docker images from your local Docker repository. It can be your local Docker repository also. It can be your private registries also. But in case you are using a private registry, then you need to make sure that you are passing the authentication while running this particular script. So let's talk about this script line by line. The very first thing is, here you are passing the variable called as image underscore name. So this variable is particularly currently set to Java-app. This is the name of Docker image you want to search for and delete it. You can replace the Java-app with the name of any other image you want to clean up. Okay. Then the next line is, you are going to search for all the images matching with this particular variable, right? So in this particular command, Docker images hyphen format, this command will list all the Docker image on your system in the format, this one, repository colon tag. In this particular format, whatever the images are going to be exist, it will list all of them. And the format, the hyphen format flag ensures that only the repository and tags are displayed, making it easier to search and filter the results. Okay, and you are going to just filter with the image underscore name, means you are going to filter with only the images which are going to start with the Java-app, because you want to delete only these images, right? After that, if no images are found, then in that case, this images variable is null. So it will just print you that no image is found with this particular name, right? And in case the images are found, then it will list all the images which are present in this particular list. It will show you that one. Okay. Now you are going to delete all the images with different tags in this particular list. So to delete all the images which are present in this particular variable, you need to loop through each image in this particular image list. So here I am looping or iterating through all the images in this particular variable, and then I am running the docker rmi command forcefully to delete that particular images. So if you are working with a Docker, you might be already knowing what are these commands. Docker images will list all the image in your particular registry, but here we are grepping only with the image which exists with the Java-app name. Then Docker RMI command, it is used to delete that particular image. If you want to delete it forcefully, if it is being used in any container and you want to remove it forcefully, then -f parameter you need to pass it over here. So this particular script is very helpful if you want to delete all the dangling image which are not in use. If you want to delete it, then this shell script is very useful. Now let's talk about the last question in this particular video, that is question number 5. So how would you give a user test permission to execute a script owned by another user without changing the ownership, right? So you have one script called as script.sh, and you want to give the execute permission to another user without changing the permission for this particular script.sh file. Okay, so how to do that? The very first thing is, you need to use the set FACL command. It is used to set access control list on any files or directory. ACLs allow you to define more granular permissions for a specific users or groups beyond the standard Linux permission. So here what I am doing using this particular command, I am setting the flag as -m. This means you want to modify the ACL. Now for the user John, what I want to give, execute permission to this particular John user. Okay, user is John and I want to give the execute permission to this particular file, right? So now the chmod command, what it will do, the chmod command is used to change the permission of a file or directory. U plus X means for the user, means for the owner of this particular file, you want to give the execute permission to this script.sh file. So I hope you are clear about this particular question.
Also, for any of your personal queries, you can connect with me on Telegram or Instagram. Link will be shared in the description. Thank you all for supporting and subscribing to this channel.